Hi everyone. So today we started module 6. It's one of the most practical Excel modules that you have ever learned because we can use the things that we learn in module 6 to do what if analysis. And what if analysis is one of the most important techniques that managers use for decision making. And you can create decision support systems using what if analysis. That's why this is the most practical one, because you actually can use these techniques to create a business intelligence system. All right, so there are a couple of things that we want to cover in this um, um, class, like goal seek, scenario manager, solver, data tables. But let's first start with naming in Excel, which means that you can name the ranges in Excel instead of using the direct cell references. Well, why? Because this is much more meaningful. And if somebody else is working with the Excel sheet that you created, if you name the ranges, for example, instead of saying A2 through C2, you can name this range. You can give meaningful names to these ranges and then use them in your formulas. So that way your formulas is much easier to understand. So before I start, I need to create some values for each of these inputs for my PMT function. Well, you're familiar by now with PMT function. It takes 3 arguments. I have the arguments here, but I need to create values for this. I can simply just insert the values that I want, but I want to show you that how you can use this uh, series option to fill a range. I start with APR. I give them a start value to all of these 3 arguments. I start with 1% here. Number of payment is 12. And let's say that the loan is $10,000. Now I want to fill this range. I want to say 1%, 3%, and 5%. These are my values here. I click on this first cell, go to this fill, select series, and then is this a row? No, it's a column, right? This is vertical. And what is the step value? Well, it means that what's the difference between first value and the second value? The difference is 2%, right? Because the next one is 3% and the next one is 5%. Where do you want to stop? I want to stop at 5%. Add 2 dots here. Say OK, and you see it filled out these 3 cells for me. I will do the same thing with the number of periods. Go to series, it's a column. I start at, no, the step is 12. I want to say 12, 24, 36. I want to stop at 36. Okay, do the same thing with known or present value is a column. I want to increase it by $10,000 at each step. And I want to stop at $30,000. Say okay, and then it fills out for me. But let's say I want to name this range, right? I know that this is APR, but every time I want to select this range, I want to know that this range is APR, right? So what I can do is that I select the range, and you see that my label is at the top row. Here's where the label is. I go to formulas, create from selection, and it automatically selected the top row as my label. But if your range, for example, is here and your label is here, then your label would be on the bottom row. So pick where your label is. Okay, so mine is in top row. I leave it here and I say okay. So if I now go to this name box, you see that my name is here, the name that I have created. And every time I select this, it will select that range for me. All right, but there are other ways that I can use this range that I have created. For example, I can create a drop-down list using this. Imagine that this can be a good example itself, but let's say it's even more meaningful when you have nominal values, like you have students' names and you want to create a drop-down list out of that, right? You can just give the name and then use that, but how? So I go to this data tab, go to this data validation, and I change this any value to a list. And it asks me what is the source. Click on F3. It opens up this name that I have created. I chose it and I say okay. It adds it here. And I say okay. I should have clicked on other cell, but you get the idea. It created this drop down list for me here because I clicked here. You should click away. You should click somewhere else so you can see your drop down list there. You can even change the range that you have created. If you go to formulas, go to this manage name, it shows the range to you. So if you add a number here, for example, you just simply change this A5 to A6, and then it will be automatically updated here in the drop-down list that you have created here, right? But there are also other ways to create names and to use names. Let's say that you are using a number a lot. Let's say that I want to give a name to this value instead of using the cell reference, which is C3 for this one in my PMT function. I can give it a name and make it more clear for the people who are reading my formula. Of course, I can use that select range option and use this name, but I want to give it a name myself, right? Another good example would be like the long, weird numbers that we use in mathematical calculations, sometimes like a pi number. You can save it in a cell and just give it a name. So here I want to give a name to this cell. I go to formulas and I say, go to define a name. And it gives automatically choose this label. I want to change it to PV. Let's say that name PV. I want it to be different from because PV is a function in Excel too, right? So I just name it name PV. I can even add a comment here again for myself or for the people who are reading this function to make sure what is it. And then it's referring, it gives me the sheet number, exclamation mark, and then the cell. I say okay, and the name was created. I want to use it in this PMT formula. I would say equal PMT. I have two arguments, right? My rate is this one, number of payments. And then for present value, I just type the name of the this cell and see what happens when I chose this, it selects this cell automatically. So I don't need to use that cell again. I forgot the minus. Use that cell again. I can give meaningful names to all of these variables. So when you reading this formula, you can see, for example, APR instead of A3 and a number of payments instead of B3, right? Another way to use that, like you can either just type it, but let's say that you have a lot of names in your Excel workbook, and then you forgot what was the name of this cell, right? What you can do is that you can go again to Formulas tab using formulas, and then it lists the names for you. See, I have APR2 here. They choose name PV, and just hit. And this is my PMP value. I could use the ranges too. Remember, I named this range. Let's say I want to sum up this range. Again, I go to this using formula APR. It's a range, and it adds up all of these for me. And you already knew that we can simply refer a cell in another cell and use that value, right? Because I want to use it in the next video. For example, I want to refer to this. This is E3. Let's just say equal E3. And then that's how I can use this value in itself.